Welcome to Thursday. I'm wearing an Eagles jersey that says ASOTU 2022 on the back, or ASOTU 22 on the back. So you know today's going to be a good day. Woo! How could it not be a good day? One of our very good friends, Steven Apicella, sent Kyle and I two real-world game-time Eagles jerseys. Even though Kyle's not an Eagles fan, it says ASOTU 22 on it.
Look, I'm not against the Eagles. Like if we were doing this thing in Pittsburgh and it was a Steelers jersey, we would have serious problems.
Just like if we're doing it in Dallas,
but the Phillies,
Cowboys,
not a big deal, right?
Good.
But the fact that it's like Philadelphia, first ASOTU, kind of like it's just it's like
there's a grit to it.
Yeah,
there's a grit to it.
So good.
So I mean, like, okay, so later today we're going to be recording a lot of podcasts with Michael Cirillo on the ground. There's just going to be so much good about today. We just want to share a few news stories to get the good flowing for everybody, but also just to share the enthusiasm. By the way, a lot of people are starting to pick up tickets for the ASOTU Monday night party, and it's going to be insane. Like I think one dealership, like they got like 50 tickets.
Yeah,
they're like, we're bringing everybody.
Nuts, y'all. Yeah, yes. They like literally Philly is showing up to that night, and it's gonna be incredible. I cannot wait.
So there's still dealer tickets left for the event in general. Everything is starting to ramp up really, really quickly. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, great time to get them. Great time to book your flights. Great time to book the hotels. Do we have hotels in the main rooms in the main hotel block left?
Yesterday afternoon, there were 19
left out of
so
196.
If you're like, I'll get my tickets. Not a problem. There's only 19 hotel tickets left at the main spot.
In the main spot. But there's another spot that's like just a few minutes away. But I mean, like, look, if there's spots in the main spot left, get them. Go to ASOTUcon.com, get your tickets, and we want to jam with you there. And so much more of the industry who's going to show up, from the lot porters to the techs to everybody else. We're going to do that. Also, Auto Collabs episode streaming at noon every single day on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. We've been having an amazing time recording these Auto Collabs podcasts and just some of the most insightful conversations with
you are not kidding.
The people that I've thought I knew, that all of a sudden they drop this. I'm like, what?
Right? You get into the interview and you're like, and I thought I knew you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's I like those interviews the most. So maybe it makes sense that we're trying to conduct those interviews where, you know, a lot of people ask the same people the same 5 questions every time. Right. So you kind of know what their script is going to be. So our goal with Auto Collabs is to get people off script, because that's where the good stuff is. Speaking of off script,
stop. Segue
time. Okay, so Target's profits are down 90%, 90 year over year. They're citing major discounting, meaning they had a bunch of stock in warehouse and they're like, we got to get rid of this stuff. So they discounted big time, also citing inflation burdens. Like, we've been talking about this a long time, but here's the thing. The previous 7 quarters to the last 2, Target had shown healthy profits. So talk about being off script. So the Target CEO, Brian Cornell, told investors the retail environment remains, quote, challenging, but he also said they're seeing an encouraging start to school shopping season. So
that's good.
It is good.
We had to lean in on some school shopping.
I bet you did. What's the big school shopping items this year? Same things as every year, right?
Same thing. I'm
backpacks,
like, this is
shoes,
the list
pencils
that I had when I was a kid.
Elmer's glue.
Yeah, they haven't really changed it much, at least in elementary school.
Was there like an item that you saw on the list that you were like, huh?
Well, I will say I remember like once I got in middle school, the mechanical pencils were really a thing, right?
Oh yeah.
It was like number 2 pencils. That's what your kids need. Like, that was the only option. They said, we need 5 boxes of number 2 pencils, which I just thought was really interesting. Like, they're like, no, we don't do mechanical pencils.
Isn't number 2 pencil? Isn't that like the type of lead or graphite in them? Or is it the actual like yellow pencil?
It's the thickness of the whatever's in it now.
Have you ever seen something that wasn't a number 2 pencil?
No.
like I've never seen a number 1 pencil or
the
a
mechanical pencils have
pencil.
like a number 1 or a number 3 or a number 5.
Right,
All
it's
your
the
pens
tip-
have
the
that,
tip
right?
width, right.
It's like the font weight of your writing. But yeah,
How do we get
someone
talking
find
about
us a
this
number
stuff?
1 pencil. That's
Is
gotta
there a
be...
such thing as a number 1 pencil?
All right, so back to
Get back
Target.
to the story. The CEO, Brian Cornell, he did assure investors saying that he believes the financial impact of the inventory actions, which does mean all the discounting and clearing out, he thinks they were behind us. Now, if you remember yesterday, or if you haven't heard, you can go back and check it out. We covered Walmart and showing how their buying demographics changing substantially, like a lot more people that make over $100,000 a year shopping there, and then just a significant drop in discretionary items. Here is why this is hitting Target harder than Walmart, is because people rely on Target for more discretionary items, and they see Walmart as the value big box for non-discretionary items.
So here's the thing. When you think about this, it's like 7 quarters of profits. Were they just good, or was the inventory right and the demand right?
It sounds like another industry I know.
Another industry that we may want to just be aware of how much inventory is, like inventory and demand, how much that plays into our profitability.
Oh, man, that's a tie-in right there. Because I mean,
think about like what Walmart is accessing and the way that they're approaching like delivery and pickup, and the way that they're approaching the goods that they're providing for people, and recognizing affordability and consumer demand is waning and changing. These are things that we can look to other retail industries and understand about the automotive industry and how the next, because we don't have that inventory or demand level issue yet. But as it changes, what have you done to make sure the ship is right so that you're in the Walmart situation and not the Toyota?
Wait, are you saying?
You see what I'm saying?
Are you saying that if dealers had more cars on the lot stocking up, that rebates and discounting and incentives would come back?
No, we're never going back again, Paul. Can you believe?
We've learned too much. We've learned too much to go back. Says everyone all the time. Well, I don't know if today's episode is Matt Lasher, if it's tomorrow, but we talk with Matt Lasher, marketing director of the West Her Group, about this very issue. So I don't know if it's today or not, but either way, when it comes out, he's got a few poignant thoughts as always on this. But hey, let's take some cues from retail. Let's learn some lessons and do the best we can to not repeat the same mistakes. Speaking of repeating mistakes,
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
This makes me so sad.
So Kyle and I had a really long conversation about automotive entertainment systems and interfaces today. Well, there's a non-auto industry writer who has a take on the new F150 Lightning that we thought was a really great candid commentary. It's a real mixed bag. Nilay Patel, the co-founder of the tech publication The Verge, we cite their articles often on the show. He recently reviewed the new E150, and we thought it was a very entertaining read and gives you, I think, a good feel for what an EV owner might experience getting into their first EV, right? I mean, he even took the truck to the dump.
Right.
He took
he did all the
EV.
things, right?
Yeah.
He made like, it wasn't like the typical, like, oh, I went around the four right turns and back to the dealership type thing. Like, he put it through its paces to really understand both the usability, the functionality of the vehicle, as well as the technology. And his insights are really strong. He gave some highlights, the things like the comfort, the speed, the handling, even the self-driving, the storage in the front of the vehicle. All were things where he's like, this is really good. These are things that we can look up to.
Wait, hold before you get into the other ones. He said something that isn't in the show notes, but so he's also got a Ford Raptor. So he's a Ford truck owner to begin with. And he said something that made a ton of sense. He goes, well, because the batteries are low center of gravity, with nothing in the bed, he doesn't get that bounce around that you get in a pickup truck with no weight in the back. So I was like, oh man, imagine what that is like, driving a very stable, non-bouncy pickup truck with no payload.
Sounds like more like a car-like ride.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. But it wasn't all rosy. Go ahead, Kyle. Tell him.
Well, and what's really sad is that it sounds like Ford has done a good job at maintaining driving dynamics and even making them better, which, if you think about an OEM, that's probably what they're going to be able to focus on more, is low lights, were on the technology side, which has
Like,
been a
real
concern
bad.
for me all the way through. And primarily looking at not just charging station range type stuff, this particular
All the
EV
normal
stuff that
stuff,
we're all worried about. But he clearly stated that the interface and the operating system of the technology on the onboard technology was slow, confusing to work around. The user experience was not good. This is his quote. The result is that the software experience of the Lightning often feels trapped in the past with no clear path to the future because Ford's real software efforts lie elsewhere. The instrument cluster features the same cryptic icons, fundamental menu layout Ford has used in its cars forever. That huge portrait infotainment
which
system,
looks awesome, by the way. That's the one
It
that's actually
does.
got a jog dial mounted
It
on
looks
the
so
screen.
cool.
which
Like
is
it's
so
massive,
cool.
it's huge, and all that type of stuff. It's
This is great.
woefully underutilized. Like that's some strong words, boss. And the menu layout can feel like a randomly generated maze with no destination.
Gosh.
And then we both went,
Yeah, he
Oh,
talks about
no.
this one part. He's like, well, in the beginning, it gives you two options. There's controls, and then there's settings. And then if you click on controls, there are also options in the controls tab that also say
it
settings.
seemed like settings.
Settings for the controls that aren't the settings, right? So understood. But I mean, there's a bright side to this. And it's that Ford is working with Google to develop an Android operating system that we would all expect moves a lot more quickly. I mean, look,
And
most
thank
infotainment
goodness.
systems.
Yes. And thank goodness that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto exist, and they do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But
Of the
yeah,
infotainment, right? But not
it's
like climate and
unfortunate.
settings.
Yeah.
I know.
Man.
It's like, so look, I think the takeaway from this is that you can use this knowledge and what you just heard to start to empathize and pre-empathize with what consumers may be experiencing, not only in the EV experience in the transition, learn a few more benefits that you can actually talk about, especially to truck buyers, if you can get one to sell them, but also just kind of understand and get good at, explaining how to make the best use of what there is that's there. I mean, we just thought it was.
This sounds like a dialed-in delivery is necessary to make sure a customer feels confident utilizing this system.
Right. If you walk them through it, then they won't have to figure it out. It's figuring out the maze that's difficult. If you can help them coach them through the maze a little bit.
They just need a guide, Paul. They just need a guide.
Just need a guide. Speaking of a guide.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
There are a few things more entertaining than having the staff of Apple guide us through the latest Apple presentation. And according to Bloomberg, sources familiar with the matter. I love how they have their inside sources. It makes me so happy. Maybe one day we'll have our own inside source at Apple. Apple's aiming to hold their next launch event on September 7th to unveil the iPhone 14 line. So they're also going to unveil new Macs, high and low end iPads. I remember how all stuff used to be so secret, and now it's just apparently all available before Apple actually
we
says
know
it.
what's coming. We
As
saw
well as a new Apple Watch. They typically release the product about a week after it shows up on the preview, and they have been telling Apple employees to gear up for some kind of launch on the week of September 16th. Let's read some stats for you if you're an iPhone person, which I think probably the majority of the audience is, but we love our Android users too. There's just never really any really great Android launches. The most significant, or it's too fragmented, right? Samsung has a launch and HTC. So the most significant iPhone 14 Pro changes will be to the camera system, which will appear slightly larger to consumers. It doesn't appear larger to pros, I guess. The Pro models will gain a 48 megapixel wide angle camera. So a much more higher resolution wide angle camera, which we love that wide angle here at ASOTU. We get low, we don't
back that thing up and go.
Another 12 megapixel ultra wide, and Apple is also planning improvements to video recording and battery life. So, your customers are going to be talking about this. The people in your stores are going to be talking about this. So, paying attention to it.
And seriously, y'all, when we say get an iPhone and start making content, this is another reason they're making more updates to your ability to create content for your business, and the ecosystem demands it and people want it. So go find out how to do that
without
Soon, please.
a doubt. Oh, there was something else in there about the iPhone I was going to say. It's probably gone. The making content thing. You had me at hello, Kyle, with making more content. Oh, okay. Oh man, it's right on.
I'll tell you this.
Tell me what I was thinking.
I literally just
happens
we'll
anyway.
launch this episode in just a minute, but I literally just got off an interview for Auto Collabs with a gentleman named Jeff Vervilla. You can look him up. He runs marketing.
Revilla.
You're going to want to listen to the episode, but literally this guy, it's unbelievable. They monetize their YouTube on content.
A dealer monetizes their YouTube because they make good content.
That's like the tip of the iceberg for all of the really cool stuff that they're doing in and amongst their community and driving traffic to themselves. So like when we say the reason why we look at an iPhone and its ability to create content is because these are the types of things that you can be doing for your dealership and dealership group that will literally change the game.
Well, there you have it. That's only a Thursday. You got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of Philly to take over, right? We got to make sure things are right with the venue and the tech and all that. You have to make sure that your customers are right, your team is right. So go out there, get Thursday. We're still rounding out a good week here.